Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's very impromptu live version of Anomalous Daily. I'm Digby and joining me, as always, Tom Thompson. We were supposed to be in an interview right now, but unfortunately, they've had to reschedule, and I've just lost Tom. This is not a good
Oh
start,
no,
Tom.
I'm here. I'm here. I don't know
I
what
cannot
happened
see your
there.
video.
Hold on. Eh,
It's
yeah,
live, and anything could go wrong, and it already has done.
yeah, I don't know what
No,
the hell
he's
that
back.
was.
He's back. Look at him. He's
Reptilians.
back.
The
Oh,
reptilians, I tell
Jesus.
ya.
It's yes. We were supposed to be in an interview right now with Dr. Solsay about the Nazca mummies, but he's just messaged and he's had to reschedule. And we had this time, so we thought we'd use it wisely. I'm going to be off the radar for the next couple of days anyway, so busy. So we thought we would come on and chew the fat. Tom, how are you today?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm hanging in. Sucks that we can't be on with Dr. Zolce. Obviously, we're a big fan of his. He's a really nice gentleman, real smart guy. But he's very busy, and we do respect that and understand. And hopefully, we'll get a chance to talk to him at a later point. But there's a lot that we can talk about, Digby. You did a video. I did a video where we both sort of broached this. You did your interview with Scott Roeder, talking about
Mm.
the same situation here, and I have to say that I things are very confusing, but I think again, maybe it's just because I'm the optimist in the room, but I really want to know what you have to say about this because I did put it in my video. I think this is an opportunity for us to take disclosure back into our hands, and that this might actually be one of the biggest blessings in disguise that we've ever had, and we just haven't seen the fruits of that labor yet, and we have to be patient.
Yeah, and I said this in one of my videos earlier in the week, and on a post on X recently as well, saying, have you realised that this is all just a movie yet? And I mean that literally in the sense that it's like we're living in a movie. We are being introduced new main characters and background characters, and we've got people at the forefront that seem like they're directing it and controlling the narrative. And I think this is actually what we're looking at. For far too long, we have looked to social media and the so-called experts to give us the answers. And why the hell are we waiting for them to give us the answers? Because can we actually trust the people that are out there fighting for disclosure? Because and I'm not talking about trusting them as individuals, as people, but we don't know what they're being fed and what the narrative is behind what they're being fed. And maybe it's about time that disclosure started to be a grassroots effort rather than about the next UFO celebrity coming out. We've got whistleblowers waiting to come forward, and I really stand by the whistleblowers. I really do. And this isn't me saying that they're all full of BS. It's not that at all. But these people need to come out. They need to feel like they're safe. They need to feel like they have an avenue to come out into, and they need to feel like somebody isn't going to stop them and tell them what they can and they can't say. And I don't mean by DOPSA or the government. I mean by certain key UFO people who seem to feel like it's their job to curate disclosure in a way that they deem fit for public release.
Yeah, that's
That's
really
how I
well
feel.
said, Digby. And again, this doesn't mean that we don't want to talk to anybody that's famous. This doesn't. I mean, we've interviewed so many different people. Danny Sheehan. I've spoken to God. I mean, think of the. I mean, I can't even think of them all at this point now. Lou Elizondo follows me. We've talked to Gary Nolan, who I honestly still have a tremendous amount of respect for, and is one of the few people that I do have some sort of trust in. But that being said, I think it's really now time to start asking hard questions. And I've tried to play devil's advocate with this a little bit too, and I've also told myself that instead of going on the attack necessarily, I'm going to remain neutral because we also don't want to alienate anyone that really is trying to help. But it's just that we've entered a time now where it's become very difficult to discern what's what and who's who. But at 5 o'clock today, I did a video last night. This is a huge piece of news in my opinion. There has been a breakthrough in the study of UFOs. This is coming out of Germany, which, again, we talk about this a lot. The fact that I'm from the United States, Digby's from the UK, and in Portugal, that this is definitely a global issue. It's not an issue just pertaining to the United States. UFO sighting was confirmed on passive radar for the very first time. This was done by citizens. This was not done by a government. This was
Hmm.
not done by an institution. Now, it's a citizen-run organization that studies UFOs, but it's still very much a grassroots, boots on the ground
Yeah.
collective, and I think it represents potentially a landmark situation and a breakthrough that couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to people like Lou and Greer, I mean, everybody who watches our show knows what I feel about Greer, and that's absolutely fine. But it's the fact that we people are looking towards these people to try and give us the answers, to give us the disclosure. I'm just saying, let them come out, let them do their documentaries, let them tell their stories, let them tell and speak of their experiences. But it's not these people, it's not these people's jobs to go out there and give us disclosure. You know, that's not what they're there for. We're giving them that ability. They don't need to have that ability. Come out, give us your knowledge. Absolutely. Share what you want to share. But you know, we don't need somebody like a Lou Elizondo, a Greer, a Sheehan, or anybody like that to go out and do all the heavy lifting to give us the answers. We're capable of creating avenues to do that ourselves. We can make our own movement. You know, we can go for the unabridged version of disclosure. And I think that's what we should be doing. And Tom and I are working with some people in the background now to enable us to do something along those lines. It's in its early stages, but over the next couple of weeks, we'll have some more information out. But disclosure needs to be a grassroots effort, not a celebrity, you know, disclosure, not a celebrity documentary, and this person's going to come out and this person's going to be interviewed and this is going to be on News Nation and everything like that. Because you can't trust it. You can never trust it.
We need to have a bigger role in this. This doesn't need to be confined to just government and military officials. And again, I want to hear from all of those people. There are military service members that I have met and spoken with over the last few years. I'll use one really good example, a gentleman that most of you have probably heard of, Mario Woods. I totally believe his story. And I think he is someone that served this country honorably and experienced something that absolutely shook him to his core. But he is actually in the same boat as us, still looking for answers, still trying to figure out what happened. And the government and the military sort of gave him the cold shoulder on that and really didn't want to have a conversation with him about this. The way that he was treated by the previous version of Arrow is disgraceful. Over the phone, you should have flown that man to Washington, sat him down in a skiff or wherever you want to have it, and get every last goddamn detail that he has. He deserves that respect.
Mm.
So we're willing to do that. We're willing to bring these people onto this show. We'll talk to anybody and let them have the floor and let them say whatever the hell they want because we believe in the truth. We have passion for this. Digby is an experiencer. I'm an experiencer. And again, that's a double-edged sword, Digby. I think you know this by now, that it's a blessing to have had that extraordinary experience and to realize that there's a lot more to reality than initially meets the eye. But then at the same time, it's hard to convince people who have never seen it before.
I think I'm beyond trying to convince people.
Yeah, I know.
I don't really care for convincing people. What I would like to do, and one of our aims, one of mine and Tom's aims, and the people in this group that we're bringing together, is going to be to create documentaries, to create things that can go out there that people that are ready to and want to learn more than they can. But I'm not going to stand on a soapbox and beat the drum in town square trying to tell people that the aliens are coming, because it just won't work. People will only come to this when they're ready, and more people are coming to it now than ever. And so it's more important now than ever that we make this a grassroots effort and that we combine all our efforts. If you're watching this on X right now, which a lot of you are, over 115 of you that are currently watching this live are currently watching this on X. Thank you for joining us. But if you're watching on X, you know what this community is like on X, on Twitter. You know that there are more than one group that are fighting with each other consistently, constantly arguing, bickering. And if we just take a leaf out of the politics playbook for 1 second, the way that politics work is by having a two-party system. You create divide and conquer. It doesn't matter. Two wings, same bird. The middle always wins. Everybody always gets what they want, as in the people, the puppeteers always get what they want. Disclosure is no different. They want you fighting with each other. They want one group fighting with another group. But it's quite impressive that they've managed to do this, really, because you're either, Lou through and through, or you're in Greer's rear. Sorry, bad joke. But do you know what I mean? They like to create this drama so that in the middle they get to control the narrative. How about we all stop fighting with each other, realize that we have varying opinions to one another, and realize that that's okay. But instead of idolizing a UFO celebrity, why don't you put that effort into working with others, sharing your experiences, and realizing that there must be a better way of getting this information out? Because at the moment, somebody's playing 5D chess with you, and you are losing.
Absolutely. You really nailed it, Digby, because ever since I joined the community, before I even met you, I saw so many talented and really bright, able-bodied people on X, Reddit even, doing amazing investigative work. And, when there's like a sighting that happens, I have seen people like collect data so quickly. It was mind-blowing, honestly. It was really, I couldn't believe how fast some of these people came to certain conclusions and were able to grab certain answers. But at the same time, I watch what they're bickering about. And I'm like, if you took that same energy and just applied it to just the subject, and instead of arguing with person A or person B, and you reached out to them and you combined your abilities, oh my God, magic. I mean, really, we could be doing so much more together. If I've said it a few times, it's like, and I don't know how to convince people, because sometimes there are certain individuals that look at something somebody's done as like unforgivable, and there's no way to come back from it or whatever. But we need like a hard reset. Seriously, it's like, everybody stop, take a deep breath, step back. Here, we'll just pretend to hit this reset button. Let's start new. Hi, I'm Tom. Hi, I'm Digby. Hi, I'm this person. And let's get to work here. We can do this, honestly.
Well, perfect example was, can you remember about a year ago when they held the disclosure rally outside of Senator Chuck Schumer's office?
Yeah,
of
course.
And I made a comment on the show that it was a real poor show, that there was hardly anybody there. And then I got so much grief for that, because it was like, oh, everybody's trying their best. This is a grassroots effort and blah, 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 blah.
Which is true.
Which is fine. But my point of view was literally like, yeah, but the optics on this do not look great. This was not organized well enough in advance, advertised, and it was done on a cold winter's day in New York City, where it was absolutely Baltic weather out there. Nobody was going to turn up, and it was in my mind, it looked like it was set up to fail. I got so much grief for that. And then 2 months ago, I started getting random apologies going, sorry about what I said about you when you spoke up about the disclosure thing in New York. And I was like, that's fine, but why are you apologizing? And it was like, well, you were right.
And I appreciate that.
And I knew that.
I like that.
And I do appreciate that. We've lost your face again, Tom.
It's okay. Don't worry.
It's all right.
It's just a thing. It's a thing. I'm here.
It's just a thing.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'll get it back up in a sec. So, I mean, honestly, though, we can take that as a really good example of maybe one thing that can happen, right? Is that, sometimes someone's going to be critical of somebody for whatever reason that may be. And, maybe you should shoot them a message and say, hey, came off a little strong there. Sorry about that. Or, there's different ways to go about this. But I swear, if there's an opportunity for an olive branch to be extended, and you know someone like that, I would urge you to do that, because we can just make so much more progress. And if we're gonna really have a true grassroots effort here, we can have varying narratives and opinions. You can think that the Greys are time travelers. I can think that the Greys are, post biological beings from another dimension. It that can happen while we still work together. We don't have to turn that into an argument. We need to make that a point of what makes this so fascinating and interesting, is what these different ideas are that are being brought to the table. Because, come on, at the end of the day, none of us truly know. We know something is going on. We know something is
No,
out there, but that's about it.
we don't know. I mean, even me with the experience that I've had, I know things from that experience, but I don't know everything,
Right,
and
exactly.
everybody, I think the main problem here is that people look at it and go, no, it's greys, or no, it's angels and demons. And what nobody is doing is going, it's all of the above. Everybody has had experiences of their own that confirm one element of the phenomena to them, let's say, but that's
Right.
fine. Like mine confirms it for me, but again, only one side of the phenomena. We could be dealing with multiple different things all at the same time. And in a universe as vast as this one, anything is literally possible.
I
Literally, the
think that's the
variations of
base.
everything is literally possible. So, open your minds, open your hearts to everybody online. Let the past be the past, let bygones be bygones, and try and rebuild some bridges and remember that we're all on the same side. And just because you've had one experience and it went one way, guess what? Somebody else may have had a completely different experience. I've had 2
100%.
experiences and they've both gone completely different ways. And I've spoken to people that I trust. And do I believe that there is what could be perceived as an angels or demons explanation to this? Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I've also heard some horrific, shady things that are going on in the background that involve the US government and these demonic forces.
Yeah, boy,
I've
have we.
also spoken to people that have seen greys and that have seen mantid beings and all of the above. And I'm not going to turn around to one and go, I believe him, but I don't believe him.
Mm-hmm.
Look in somebody's eyes, see whether you can trust them. You can tell a lot just by stopping and looking at a person. You really can. And I don't mean judge a book by its cover, but you can tell a lot by looking at somebody, especially in an interview. Where are they looking? Are they looking at the camera? Are they looking up? Are they looking down? Do they look shady? Trust your instincts. Us as human beings have been taught not to trust our instincts for far too long. And actually, if you do trust your instincts, 9 times out of 10, I reckon you'll be right.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. But at the same time, too, we still support the idea of government disclosure if they're really going to do it. It still represents, I feel, a major step, generally speaking, in fixing the relationship between government and the public. Because it's not in a good place right now, let's be honest. We all know that. It doesn't matter what side of the political aisle that you fall on, it's not in the best shape.
I just think we don't need government disclosure
Right, and
anymore. I
that's
think that
that's
there is
where I'm
enough
at.
information, enough abilities out there to get the evidence out there, and then you
100%.
will get government disclosure because they will have to confirm it at some point. But I would say don't wait for them to be the first to the post to give it.
Yeah, don't again, every time that a hearing was coming up, I could see it out online, people feeling like, here comes another nothing burger. And I'm like, well, you know what? Then just this is what I've been saying to people this whole week. It's like, if there's someone that you're kind of disillusioned with at this point, or there's someone that you feel that you can't trust, just stop listening to them. Just pay attention to the stuff that you do trust. Go chase the data, the literature. I mean, my God, my archive has thousands of pieces of material in it. You can email me. I'll send you whatever you want. I'll help you out. Honestly, seriously. And if there's any weird, shady occurrences happening that you see out in the public, there's a good, respectful, professional way to call that out too. I've never been in the business, Digby, this, of like memeing people or anything of that nature, but I have always said that if it came out tomorrow that any one of these known names was guilty of something that goes against what we believe in, I am going to call them out. Period. End of story. I'm not afraid to do that. You know, they're human beings at the end of the day, too. They can be as famous as they want. I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm not. I'm really not.
Yeah, I think also I think you and I have got to the stage now where we're not spending our time like we used to tracing down UFO celebrities to come on our podcast, because actually when you have a voice and you have a platform to do it on, then there's better things that we can be using it for. And as you said quite rightly earlier, Tom, it's not that we don't want to have the Lou Elizondos and the whoever's to come on and talk to us. We do, but we want them to come and talk to us about their experience and the sort of the data that they've collected through doing what they do. I'm not looking to them to, give me the next bit of a snippet that they didn't give on the last podcast. Because quite frankly, there are enough podcasts out there doing that. I don't need to have Lou come on and talk about his experience the same way he did on Disclosure Team or anything like that, which is a great podcast, just in the hope that he might give me a little bit more information. But we'll have him on and have an open and honest conversation with him.
Yes, I want to have this conversation with everybody. As a matter of fact, if this goes out, this is an open call and maybe even a challenge to the Lou's of the world, the Ross Coulthards of the world, anybody, because a lot of these people follow me. If you're hearing my voice right now, please consider coming on this show with us and having this conversation. If you want
a real conversation,
a real conversation, if you want to reestablish trust with the public, if you feel that you can build that bridge, we're happy to help you get there too. Because at the end of the day, we just want the truth. We want what everybody else wants, because our lives have been touched by this, and every human being that's alive on this planet right now deserves to know what is out there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But these people, these UFO celebrities, they need humanizing in a sense.
Yeah, they do.
Personal conversations need to be had and bridges need to be built. And also people just need to realize that these are just people coming out who are fortunate enough to have more information than you in some cases, or different information than you in some cases. But somebody out there is pulling the strings, pushing the buttons that makes the decision that, this person is going to be famous because of it. This podcast is going to do well. How many podcasts have we seen come up over the last 2 or 3 years that have come up out of nowhere? All of a sudden, they've got massive, great big budgets. Their viewerships are absolutely massive within weeks, and they're getting the top UFO whistleblowers and everybody coming on their show straight away. That is impossible without it being curated in the background.
Production team, and the cameras alone cost God money.
Flying people in first class to come on the show, full sound team, full camera team, editing, high production value, all of this lot. This stuff costs tens of thousands to do. Easy.
Probably more.
Yeah, exactly. And these people came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they're getting all these people. It doesn't make sense. It's being curated. It's like, okay, well, this person's really good, so let's give them a show. Let's set up the next 5 whistleblowers that you haven't even heard of yet, ready to go on, ready to pre-record all this. And it's just, this has got to stop.
Yeah,
this directing, this curation needs to stop, and people just need to start having real conversations.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
I think some people have been, I'll just say, I think some people have been afraid to do that because they don't want to get jumped on by the group at large. And I think that what's happening now might be a good thing, like I've been saying this whole time. And I think it's because more and more people are starting to just say exactly how they feel. They're not really holding back like before. And there's also the grassroots effort to actually collect data, as you guys will see at 5 o'clock when this video drops here. I think that we could really be seeing the beginning of something good, the turning of a page that's been needed for a long time.
That's 5 o'clock EST, yeah? So that's 10 p.m. GMT if you're over in the UK, or where I am in Portugal. I just want to touch on what Pat Gallagher has just said here. So Chris Bledsoe said Sean Ryan heavily edited his interview to make it look like he was saying that Jesus is returning next year. What the yeah, this is true. I've heard this in a few different places now, and that's horrific, really. And quite frankly, the fact that Sean Ryan hadn't released the show in the first place showed that there was something on there, or the narrative didn't fit what everybody else wanted it to be, so he was hushed. And the whole way this Chris Bledsoe interview played out on Sean Ryan, it stank to me. And then there was the Cybertruck bombing bloke that he interviewed in January, and the way that all played out. And I was just like, hang on a second. Sean Ryan is one of these examples of one of these people that come out of nowhere, open a podcast, and all of a sudden have loads of money and all the guests they want. Just
he's
go
got
figure.
A full studio, he's giving them gifts and such. And again, I'm not hating on Sean Ryan, but it's just like I'd like to know from start to finish, like, where did you come from and why?
Yes. Where did you go? Where did you come from? Anyway, but the editor of the Sean Ryan show, who edited the episode with Chris Bledsoe, apparently was also fired 24 hours after the episode came out. And it was literally, they very painstakingly edited it in a way to make it look like Chris was saying that Jesus was going to make return, which was just simply not apparently what he said at all. And remember when I said earlier about looking at somebody and judging them
Digby's been taken by the Greys. I don't know if he can still hear me. I'll piggyback off of... Oh, wait, are you here, Digby?
I'm back. I think my internet dipped out.
Little hiccup, yeah. It's okay. You guys know how it is out here doing a podcast. I've seen the biggest podcasts have stuff like this happen before, so it's like we're all in this together.
But yeah, I think my internet is dipping out a bit. I think it might be all right now. But look, this was only just going to be a short little pop on. We had an interview booked for an hour ago. I've got things to get on and do today. So we're not going to go on for much longer. But I just really wanted to use the opportunity to not really have anything massive to talk about, but just to chew the fat on this, because this is going around a lot at the moment. Yeah. Kelly Chase first said it on that UFO podcast when she closed it down. I came out and said something the next day. It's spurring on from Kelly, and I think what Kelly managed to do was give everybody the go ahead, the okay to actually say what they all think.
Yeah,
without
that's a good thing.
Fear of reprisals. Not that there haven't been reprisals, but generally speaking, they've been less than we would have thought. In fact, from the multiple videos where Tom and I have come out and started speaking like this, we've actually had 0 negative comments at all. Everybody's like, yeah, no, I believe you. We're behind you. I think everybody's kind of been waiting for it. Like they're all breathing a sigh of relief now, going, oh, thank God somebody said it,
Right. And I've talked to Kelly too. Kelly, we don't have an exact date yet because she's got a lot going on and is a very busy person, but Kelly has agreed to come on the show and have a conversation with us.
Yes, she has.
And we wish her well in the meantime too. And I hope that more people will come out and just speak from their heart and say exactly what they want. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid.
You can disagree with somebody as well and not be their enemy,
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's people that I've shared spaces with, you too, Digby, that we didn't necessarily agree with, but I'm just like, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Come on. Life's too short. We need to be good to each other too. I always say that too. Let's not make enemies out here. It's not going to help anybody.
Anyway, on that note, we said we were going to do half an hour. It's now been 29 minutes and 2 seconds. We're going to leave it there for today. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. Tom and I are going to hopefully do a live show again on Sunday.
Yes.
So enjoy the rest of your week. Watch all the content that's coming out this week on Anomalous Daily. Tom's got an episode landing at 5 p.m. EST, 10 p.m. GMT this evening. So catch up on that one later and go back and watch all of our back catalogue, because quite frankly, every episode is just flipping amazing.
Damn right.
Peace out. Take care, everybody. Cheers. Bye.